fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's The Banshees of Inisherin, which is directed by Martin McDonagh and is in theaters and also on HBO Max. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin. And it's actually pronounced Inisherin.
What did I say?
Inisherin.
I thought I said Ed Sheeran. It's like, it's Ed Sheeran.
It's written by famous artist Ed Sheeran.
Dude, this is the same thing. Like, loved this movie, and then the ending was like, what the hell?
Okay, so instead of you asking me how I liked it, why don't you guess and see if I liked it?
I feel like you did. I feel like you actually did like this one. I feel like you like the way they talk to each other, you know, you're jealous of Irish people, you know. So.
You're like, I feel like you laughed at their accents. No, I actually really did like this.
Yeah.
I saw this on HBO, I think like a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and I was like, oh, it's got Collin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, who I really liked from Gangs of New York. He was that big dude with the axe.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And did you watch like the HBO Insider thing on it first?
Oh, no, I watched this last night, so no, I haven't had a chance to look up anything about it. Why? What happened?
So the director, Martin McDonagh or something, he wanted to bring back these two specifically from In Bruges. Did you see that?
In Bruges?
In Bruges.
Yes. No, I saw it when it came out, but I don't remember it at all. No.
Yeah, he specifically said he wanted to bring back this pair for another movie, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, we'll get to the end, obviously, but I had a feeling you would like it when I was watching it. I was like, I don't know, I think he'll just like the way that these two, their banter and just kind of like the dialogue, the accents. It's funny, it's fun. But, dude, I was like loving this until the end. And then the very end, I was like, what the hell was the point of it all? I don't know, Justin. Do you think you could do that? Do you think this, because this movie takes place 100 years ago, but do you think you could live on an island like that? You know, you got a post office, one police officer. Do you think you could do it?
You know, if you asked me a couple years ago, I'd say no, but honestly, it looked so peaceful. It looked like just when it showed like his house down by the water and there was no other houses around, I'm like, oh, that seems so nice. Dude.
It looks so pretty. Yeah, like Ireland looks gorgeous, but a lot of the time I was like, man, like what are these, like do they have jobs? Like does anybody have a job on this island? Or do they just like survive?
It takes place in 1923, and the war they're talking about, because I Googled it because I didn't know if they meant like World War I or II. It's the Civil War in Ireland. Mm-hmm. So this is not a real island, because I went and looked it up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming like Collin Farrell, he got milk and would sell it to that lady, and he gets paid, and but they don't have like any expenses, dude. Like they literally don't even have electricity.
Right. No, I noticed that, but I'm just wondering, like, how does he pay for his alcohol at the pub and stuff? Is it all just like, hey, you bring me, you know, milk and cheese from your cows, I'll give you as much alcohol as you want? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, maybe it's like a bartering system, or like, you know, beer was probably really cheap. And yeah. I mean, the Collin Farrell and his sister, who you could assume were much older adults, lived in the same room. They slept in the same bedroom.
Yeah. So maybe that's just the way it was. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, just like a little brief overview of the film here in case people haven't seen it. But basically there's a very small island off the coast of Ireland. Apparently it's not real. Where it takes place in 1923 during the Irish Civil War. There's an old man named Colm and a young guy named Patrick. And they basically were friends for, we're assuming, a long time. And then one day Colm just wakes up and he's like, I don't like this guy anymore. And basically says, if you ever talk to me again, I'm going to cut my fingers off one by one every time you talk to me. And Padraig, the whole island, everybody's like, what the hell is going on? And that's pretty much the movie, is just finding out why Colm doesn't like him anymore. That is pretty much it. Yeah.
You know, when I read the description of the movie on HBO last week, I was really hesitant because this is basically a 2-hour long movie, and I was like, like it could go either way. Like I've taken my fair share of like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a chance, and then at the end of that I was like, God, that was such a waste of time. But it was between this and I think we had the Amsterdam movie, which I like too, with Christian Bale. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance. 7.9 on IMDb. And dude, I liked it immediately, like, you're right, the accents were hilarious. The way they were saying fucking, it was like feckin', and I laughed every time they said it. And just like the little community, like the bartender, and how every day at 2 o'clock, like the town goes and gets like a glass of Guinness. And it was just cool, man. Like seeing Colin Farrell with the donkey, the relationship he had with his donkey would come in, and every time the sister was like, "What did I tell you?" and they would just start yelling. The fact that I think they purposely used words with really heavy accents so that you couldn't understand, because there were some words when they were talking, I was like, I don't know what they said.
I mean, subtitles are an absolute requirement for this movie. There's no way in hell if you don't have subtitles on. Well, yeah, there's a couple words I noticed, like Egypt. That means idiot, but it's like, yeah, Egypt. And it was just like, oh my God.
Dude, what were they saying at the bar when they kept saying, "Are you rowling?"
Oh, it's like, are you fighting? Like, are you in an argument?
That's what I figured, yeah.
Obviously, yeah, it's like very small town Ireland, so there's going to be thick accents. Obviously, Colin Farrell's Irish. Everybody in the movie's Irish. But, dude, that one younger kid, what the hell was his name in the movie? It was like...
It's Dominic. He's in the Eternals, yeah.
Dude, that guy is in everything now. I feel like I can't get away from this guy. What's his name? Barry Keoghan or whatever?
Yeah, Keoghan. He's in The Green Knight. He's in Dunkirk, Batman.
The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's in that with Colin Farrell. I remember seeing that with him. I was just like, oh shit. Yeah, dude, this guy's in every freaking movie and TV show. Like,
yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, man. I'm glad he's, representing the Irish people.
Yeah, that dude was funny. I laughed pretty hard when they snuck into his dad's place and he was just naked in the chair. And he's like, "Don't wake him up." He's like, he gets mad when you wake him wanking.
Yeah.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
You saw my dad naked. He's just like, I am going to wish for every day the rest of my life that I hadn't. It was very funny, dude. Like, very dry humor, kind of similar to English. Just like, dude, it really like had me chuckling a few times. Yeah, unbelievable acting, beautifully shot, well written, just funny. Like, it's all great. But my one negative thing about it is just kind of like, I don't really get what Cullum's deal was. Still, like, it seemed like a lot of contradictory things. Like, I mean, did you take away from the being like, I think I get it. I get why he doesn't like Colin Farrell now.
Well, that's the thing, though. There wasn't a reason why he didn't like him. Like, all he said was, "You're just dull." And it's kind of funny because, like, they live on this remote island where there's only, like, 10 people in the movie. There's no cars. You can walk to everybody's house. Like, you have to go to the one bar there. And there's so much, like, solitude. And yet Colin wants more of it. And, like, his one best friend, Collin Farrell, he doesn't want to use any more of his life. Like he said, like, I could wake up and be dead one day, and he doesn't want to spend it just talking about like stupid shit with him.
Okay, so here's my problem with this. If Cullum is gonna wake up and just say like, you know what, you're dull, I don't want to spend the rest of my time just talking to you. Like, he seems like he wants to like leave a mark on the world, right? Like, he wants to be a fiddle player and write a great song or whatever. That's what I took from it. Is that pretty much accurate, you think?
Yeah, he said that he wants to focus on his music and poetry.
Right. Okay. So here's my problem with this. He lives on that island, so I can't imagine anybody's that much more interesting than Colin Farrell's character. Like, it seems like he just chose his best friend and was like, hey, you know what? You're not very interesting, so I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to guess most people on the island may be slightly more interesting, if that, but not, like, he should know or whatever. The other thing is, if you want to get into fiddle playing, you want to make your mark on the world, get off that island. Like, the sister did it, so it shows that it's possible. So why don't you leave, go to Dublin or go to London or wherever, go be a fiddle player, get your name out there, become a fiddle player. The other thing that's contradictory about this is he's cutting off his fingers, so it's like he's making himself less interesting as a result of that. He can't play the fiddle anymore, which seems to be the only thing that matters to him. And he's also kind of he's a hypocrite because he's acting like he's this cultured guy that knows so much. You know about Mozart, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't even know about Mozart. So what the hell is the point of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking pretty deep into it, but the only other people he hung out with were the musicians when he was playing. So it's not like he was talking with other people.
What about the cop?
He was just sitting there having a beer with them. They weren't like, he punched him. They weren't best buddies.
No, I know, but it was just like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, dude, you can't really get mad at other people for you choosing this area to live in and then finding people dull. Of course they're going to be dull. It's an island in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's what the sister said. But like when Colin Farrell and him had that argument, he said, maybe you never were really nice. And like then you start to wonder, like, Brendan Gleeson was hanging out with Collin Farrell this whole time. You know, Colin thought he was friends with him, but maybe he was just like pretending to be nice because, you know, like whatever, like you said, there's not many people on the island. And then one day he's just like, I don't want to be nice anymore. And then you kind of get a sense throughout the movie that Colin Farrell, he's not stupid, but he's a little dull, like he said. Like, he sleeps with the cow in the house, and he told him so many times to leave him alone. He literally said, if you talk to me again, I'll cut my finger off. And then he cuts his finger off, and he says, if you do it again, I'll cut my other 4 fingers off. And he can't stop doing it.
But, okay, to that point, though, Colin keeps, like, stretching the rules. Like, he talks back to him. He doesn't immediately get up and walk out. Like, he talks to him, too.
Well, he shouldn't have to leave the place just because there's only so many places to go.
Yeah.
But the thing is Colin could sit in the bar at like a stool across the bar and be fine, but Colin Farrell can't and has to talk to him.
Yeah, I have trouble understanding the motive.
And I thought, the way I looked at it with the whole finger cutting off thing, because you're right, like one finger he could still play the fiddle, but he lost his whole hand and you saw he couldn't. The way I looked at that was he kind of like used Colin Farrell's niceness and friendness against him, right? Like, he's like, if you care for me so much and you like me so much, you'll leave me alone so that I can enjoy the only thing that I like to do in my short life that I have left. And he couldn't stop to the point where Colin Farrell just bothered him so much to where he couldn't enjoy anything anymore.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm a pretty stubborn guy, but like, I don't really get the cutting off your fingers thing. If the whole point is that you don't want to spend your time talking to Colin Farrell, you want to focus on the fiddle, but then you cut off your fingers so that you can't play the fiddle. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I genuinely enjoy this movie. I just wish that his motivation was a little bit clearer. No, but I guess like that's the whole point of the movie is like if he did just be like, you know what, I'm done with you. I'm moving to Dublin. Like, okay, that's the movie. Then it's over. Like, so we do need this back and forth, I guess.
Yeah, that's like those Star Wars memes where it's like long ago, and it's like Mace Windu just kills him immediately, and it's over. It's like that. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm moving to Dublin. I would have liked it a little better if one of two things happened. At the end, when Colin Farrell said, I'm coming to your house at 2 tomorrow, I'm burning it down whether you're in it or not, because he killed his donkey by accident, which I'm surprised Brendan Gleeson didn't say technically Colin Farrell killed his own donkey, because if he had left him alone, his fingers would not have been cut off and the donkey would not have choked on it. So I'm surprised the movie didn't say that. But at the end, I would have liked it more if either A, Brendan Gleeson just sat in the house and let it burn and killed him, right? Like, he just like doesn't want to live anymore. Or 2, when they were standing looking out into the ocean, it just ended with Brendan being like, want to grab a pint? And like they were friends again. Yeah. But instead, Colin Farrell was just like, we'll be doing this forever.
Right. Yeah. So basically, I mean, yeah, the ending is what Justin just said. So nothing really gets resolved. Colin Farrell walks over just to be like, oh, you survived. And he's like, thanks for looking after my dog. And then they're like, oh, I hate you, sort of thing. So nothing truly gets resolved. And so this is kind of what I think. This is what I think is it's supposed to be paralleling, but I don't know enough about the Irish Civil War to know if it is. But it seems like it's just, and again, I know nothing about the Irish Civil War, so I might be completely misspeaking and I'm completely getting this wrong. So I'm just saying that up front. But I'm wondering if maybe it was a lot of miscommunication, just a lot of like, it didn't really make sense why they were fighting. I'm going to stop myself because all I can think is that throughout the movie, there was explosions going on in Ireland, and that kind of like riled up their little arguments. And then towards the end, the Irish Civil War was ending, so it felt like their issues were starting to come to an end. But I don't know. The Irish Civil War ended in May of 1923, so it ends pretty much at the end of this movie. But Colin Farrell and that Colin guy are still fighting, so I don't really know.
Well, maybe towards the end they weren't necessarily fighting, but they were more like, it's just going to remain the way this is.
That makes sense.
It's not going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, because the Irish Civil War apparently lasted for 10 months. But I thought like there was bombings. I don't know. I just don't know enough about this, so I don't want to say something. People are like, that's not it. And so I'm like, okay. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Irish person's going to leave a terrible review.
You listen here, you stupid.
You feckin' idiots.
You feckin' American. It's like, I don't know. And then he just starts listing off everything about the American Civil War. It's like, shit. And that was even longer ago, and he knows more. No, but so I don't know. I was just trying to see if maybe there was like a parallel between the arguing on the island and the Irish Civil War. But again, I don't know enough.
I don't know. It could be it. I just viewed it as Brendan Gleeson just woke up one day and said, I don't have, I could get a heart attack or whatever in a few years. Like when he yelled at Collin Farrell and said, you talked for 2 hours about like finding something in your donkey's shit. Right. And he was like, I'd rather use that time to like read poetry. Yeah. And Collin Farrell just kept making himself like look dumb when the whole town was just kept saying like, are you fucking stupid? Because he kept trying to talk to him.
Yeah.
And it was just, but he like, I don't know. He tried to make friends with Dominic, who was super obnoxious.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's really nobody to even be friends with on the island.
No, I mean, and the only line that makes me think that like there was no point to this, because like, it's just sad. Like the ending is basically Collin Farrell's sister moves away, his donkey dies, he loses his best friend. Like everything is worse off for Collin Farrell and Collin, both of them. Like they're both way worse off than they were before any of this shit started. So the only thing that makes me think that like it's just sad, but Collin says the one line where he's just like, aren't you just doing whatever it takes to occupy your time until the end? She's like, no. And he's like, yeah, you are. So it's like, is he just doing this because he's so bored? Like seriously though, because like he's just doing this. He's like ruining his life. He's ruining his friend's life. He's cutting off his own fingers. So like, is this just because he's so goddamn bored that he's like, I'm just going to make a huge change and just see what happens?
Maybe, or he really thought Collin Farrell would just stop. I did like that line at the end though, where as the house is burning down, he says, sorry about your donkey. And it's funny, like, on the island, they consider a donkey as valuable as a house because in the bar, he knocked out the cop when he was like, he just lost his donkey and punched him.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, it is worth as much as, like, anything on that island. I mean, it can pull your shit for you. And, I mean, the donkey was like a dog, dude. It acted exactly like a dog does.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he slept with a cow in his room after his sister left. Like, yeah, dude, those animals are literally his life.
Yeah, I pictured them just like shitting in the house, and he's just like, he's like sleeping there.
Well, dude, I mean, like, what happened to the donkey? Like, exactly happened. So, like, he kept the fingers in a shoebox, and then the donkey got into the shoebox and ate them and choked? Like, what the hell happened?
Well, no, the 4 new fingers that he threw at the door, he never picked up because he went straight to the bar, and then the donkey ate it, and it got like lodged in his throat.
Wait, but he was walking back to the house with his sister when Collin was walking away after he threw the 4 fingers at the house. So he just never picked them up when he went back to the house?
Nah.
What the fuck? All right.
Yeah, he never picked it up.
All right.
I mean, he probably didn't think the donkey would try and eat it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, also, Brendan Gleeson's hand was bleeding pretty bad, and I was like, how are you not like blacked out?
Yeah, and it was bleeding for like days, dude. And the dog's licking it. I was like, is this going to get infected? Like, what the hell are we doing? I genuinely enjoyed it. I know I'm being a little nitpicky, but yeah, I genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah, you've been extra nitpicky the past couple movies.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I genuinely really like this movie, but like certain things just didn't make sense, and the ending kind of was a little, I don't know, abrupt. Like, is the old lady death or something on the island? Like, she knew people were gonna die. She watched this fight from like a distance. Whose club did she have? Was that Dominic's club?
I don't know. She's probably just like the island old crazy lady.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, I'm assuming it's important that the final shot of the movie is like her on like a hill holding a club looking down at them. I was like, she looks like the Grim Reaper. She's holding Dominic's, I'm assuming that's his club because like when he comes into the bar, he's like, I told you to get the feck out of here. And he's like, and leave your club outside. So like, I think that's his, and then Dominic dies. So I don't know. It's just weird. What did you think of the old lady? What, you didn't think she was anything important? Just an old lady?
I mean, she could have been symbolism for something. I just thought she was like a weird old lady.
Yeah, I want to watch this movie again, dude. Like, knowing what I know now, knowing that it's just like how it ends, I want to watch every single little interaction and be like, all right, I know there's more here that I missed the first time around. I want to get the deeper meaning than just the surface. But
So I'm looking at the like the box office stuff. I can't find a budget for it. It worldwide gross almost 22, but it literally breaks down like every single country that it's in. It's pretty cool though. I wanted to know. It's hard to know the exact budget with like these HBO streaming movies and stuff, but it got good reviews.
Dude, it's got a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like that's out of 300 critics, it has a 97. Like that's really good.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that like it finished and nothing really happened in this movie. Like there was some comedy, like you laugh because the dialogue was funny, but there wasn't like a story. Like there's not action. It's literally just two people for the majority of the film, and they're just not friends anymore. And it just explains what happened. And I think the thing that's driving Collin Farrell so crazy in this is that Brendan Gleeson does not really have a good answer, because Collin said, like, did I say something when I was drunk? Like, did I do something? I'm sorry. And he just, like, it almost felt like he was a little kid. He just, like, couldn't grasp the concept that there was no reason. He just didn't want to be friends anymore.
Yeah. It's probably like what it feels like to be in a marriage where it's just like people aren't in love anymore, and they literally just like, I don't know what it is. I'm just not in love with you anymore. It's feelings change. But you never see that with friends usually. There's usually an incident.
Well, the interesting thing is how it happened in this time, right? So, like, if that happened present day, there's such easy ways to communicate with people and social media and everything. These guys, even though technically the only way they can see each other is by physically seeing them, they're kind of like trapped. Like they live on this small island where they have to see each other. So that's, I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Oh yeah. It's great, but okay, I'm sorry, just really quick, back to the ending, which, one other thing. Collin Farrell lights his house on fire, okay? He lights Cullum's house on fire. He sees that Cullum is still in the house when he's lighting it on fire, and he doesn't care, and he walks away or whatever. He takes the dog like he said he would, and he leaves. Cullum then breaks out of the house as it's on fire, and then just goes to the beach and waits. Like, why didn't he try to escape? I don't, just, like, what the hell was all that? What was the point of that? Why didn't he do anything?
I mean, maybe he just didn't want to die.
Well, of course not, but I don't know. Yeah, I needed just a touch more of explanation, just a touch more. But I know, I'll never get it. But this movie is leading, it has 8 nominations at the Golden Globes, including Best Picture, Best Director, and has received the most of any film since 2004. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, so I just found this. The Banshees of Inisherin is the story of 2 friends, but it is also the tale of an everyman who has to wrestle with the idea of being forgotten while continuing to dredge through life and grapple with innumerable absurdities that govern it.
Okay, yeah, so...
Yeah, so Collin Farrell just could not accept his outcome.
God, I just feel really bad for Collin Farrell, man, the character, because it's like, he's a nice guy. He just seems like he wants to live a simple, quiet, normal life. And Brendan Gleeson's character is like, no, I want bigger things out of my life. But it's kind of Brendan Gleeson's fault for not recognizing that earlier enough. And now wanting to, like, ruin someone else's life at this stage. Like, I don't know.
Well, he apologizes for it. Like, he says in the movie, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to be mean. He says it as nicely as possible.
He should have just left then. He should have just left. Based on what his character talks about, there's no reason for him to have stayed on that island. So if he truly is like, I don't like your company anymore, Patrick. I want to make an impact on the world. I want to be remembered. Then get off the island. It's that simple. Everybody is fixed from that.
You know what? I'll contact the director and I'll tell him he didn't like the ending.
Yeah, let him know. Let him know. No, but I don't know. It's a great movie, though. It's 100% worth seeing, like, absolutely. But, maybe, I don't know, maybe people won't be as upset with the ending as me, but I just feel like the past 2 weeks we did this, Speak No Evil and then this, which loved it right up until the last shot, basically,
Yeah, definitely more thought-provoking films.
Yeah, exactly. I like this way more than Speak No Evil, even though, they're very different films, but they're both foreign films, though. We've been doing a lot of foreign films on here, Justin. Look at us.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got any other thoughts on this film, or you want to give some reviews and wrap it up?
It got a 7.9. I'm gonna go 8.3.
Damn, you really liked it.
Yeah,
I'm going into 8. What if the ending was a little bit better, like one more sentence of just like, I don't know, anything? Then maybe I would have given it a 9. But I just didn't like the ending.
Yeah, I thought Collin Farrell was gonna be like, I got a spare cot. And just like it ends with them
right.
just sleeping in the twin beds.
Even if if Brendan Gleeson had this realization where it's just like, shit, like I don't really have anything, like I don't know, or anything. Just I wanted some sort of big thing in his life, not just like I don't like you anymore, I'm done talking to you. That's the end. Anyways, why the hell did he punch the cop in the face when the cop was mean to him and put him up on his cart? And I was just like, why are you being nice to him then? You're messing with his mind, dude. It's like it's a clean break, or that's it. Like you can't have it both ways, Brendan Gleeson. You can't be nice to him when you see him down and then say don't talk to me. It's just like it doesn't work that way. So you're either in or you're out, Brendan Gleeson. I'm sorry. Anyways, so you're right, 8.3 and an 8, and it got a 7.9. But yeah, 100% check this movie out. It is still worth seeing, regardless of how I feel about the ending.
Yep. All
right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening in to our discussion on the Banshees of Inisherin. Is that it?
Inisherin?
Inisherin? There you go. If you haven't had a chance yet, we released our episode on Club Dread on Wheel of Horror. And then this upcoming Monday, we have Eight-Legged Freaks. So check that out. And we'll see you all next week with something feckin' fresh.